Hello there, I am FearNot and welcome back to my channel. And this one was a long time coming, and if I ever said that before, it wasn't really that much of a truth as it is now. And I'm sorry for such a long break. I didn't really anticipate it would take me this long, but since I still haven't figured out how to make at least an okay quality voice clips, I didn't feel like it is worth it to really work on any other videos. And that is a shame because I really had so many great ideas and inspirations, but it was just so frustrating not being able to fully realize them. But right now, I'm at a point where I don't really care. So I'm sorry if the sound quality is shit. I just feel like I have too much to say not to say it just because of it. So if you've been waiting for who actually won my award show nominees I posted on the last day of 2025, here it is. If you take something from this video, it's to also check out all of the Japanese releases every other single K-pop group is doing, because they are generally amazing and sometimes like so much better than their Korean releases, at least to me. And I'm not saying you have to love them or prefer them as I do with some of ITZY's, Twice's, or sometimes even Kepler's music. Like, let's put it out there, JYP groups and Kepler have an unbeatable game in their Japanese discographies. Like, they are insane. They are insane. Some of those songs are literally some of my favorite songs of all time. Kura Kura by Twice, like, that's easily a top 3 Twice song for me. And Grand Prix, it has been my favorite Kepler song at some point. And that says a lot. I absolutely adore Kepler, like an unhealthy amount. And even though this is about ITZY, who also have amazing Japanese discography, like there is not a single skip. I might not be the biggest fan of Algorithm, but going from Voltage, blah blah blah, Ringo, like what are we even talking about? Who is beating them in that regard? I don't know, but we didn't really have to talk about it. I just really want if people could appreciate how great these songs actually are. And yeah, like rock and roll might not be the best thing that happened in 2025, but it doesn't mean that I haven't overplayed it to oblivion because I love ITZY. I love this type of just bright, energetic, and like really ITZY. Like rock and roll is an ITZY song. Not many other ITZY songs have felt like that in 2025. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but that's just because I really care about it. I absolutely love it. And I really appreciate it for what it was and for what it still is. Like, let's not pretend that ITZY are slowing anytime soon. Yuna just had an amazing solo debut. Maybe Ice Cream wasn't like the most groundbreaking thing ever, but I was obsessed. It was amazing. And I'm really excited for Moto, and I hope that maybe, just maybe, we can get European tour dates for OT5 ITZY. I would absolutely love that. Anyways, back to rock and roll. Such a great energetic song. I listened to it so much in 2025. And honestly, I should have listened to it even more. But like 2 weeks after it came out, I kind of forgot it existed. And then when I remembered, I was like, oh my God, what was I doing? So it really couldn't have been any other song. I'll be honest, it was pretty clear to me who was gonna win. I loved all of the other nominees, not gonna lie, absolutely loved them too. But yeah, he already had it predetermined before I even thought about making this video. Since I've just said that Kepler's Japanese discography is peak and that I am unhealthily obsessed with them, this shouldn't be a surprise at all. But Hell or Heaven really is that girl. And we can also talk about Yam, but I would leave that for some other time. It's a great song that I probably like more than most people, other than the few I've seen on TikTok and YouTube who actually were even more obsessed with it than I was, which I really appreciate because I think this new direction for Kepler is really eating, and I would really like for them to carve their own lane and just thrive in it. And I think they are actually doing that, so that's amazing. However, when this album came out, Hell or Heaven was the song I was playing all the time and really enjoying doing so. Because, like, that's Kepler doing what they do best. Great vocals, great instrumental, really addictive, just bit of rock elements, but it's also bright and it has so much life in it. I can't even describe it properly, but I think you can also see the parallels between rock and roll and Hell or Heaven. Like, this is my cup of tea. This is my jam. I wouldn't change a thing about the song. I think it was definitely one of my favorite B-sides from last year. And when we're talking about Japanese ones, there really was no competition in my eyes. And while I'm talking about it, I really have to give a shout out to Kira's because they are doing a similar thing right now with their discography, and I absolutely love it. I got basically the same kind of high energy, bright, and feel good music, but also make it more hyperpop. And Eve really did. Like I said previously, she is a visionary, she is an icon, and she is the moment. And though I'm sad I haven't been able to see her on her European tour right now, as I'm currently saving up for Espa and Le Seraphim in hopes I could actually win at least one of those ticket bars, but that's not relevant for now. Eve is just one of a kind artist, and I couldn't really exaggerate this enough because I still think not enough people are talking about her, not enough people are praising her for what she does and how excellent she is in it. Like, there are so many times where I've seen interesting concepts, great music, and just like top-notch ideas, but the execution just wasn't really what it could have been. That's not Eve's case at all. And now that she has Pink Panthers on her side, like, they're unbeatable. I actually also adore Pink Panthers. I don't think I've really had the chance to say it out loud because it's quite a new development that's been in works throughout the entirety of this year. But she's also super iconic, and one of the ways I got to find out about her was through Eve. So I'm really glad I did. And why I still think Viola is the Eve song, like the quintessential song of hers that is probably, in my eyes, the best. White Cat is my favorite, so I don't know how that works, but yeah, that's the case. And I absolutely adore the song. The chorus is just out of this world. It's crazy, addictive, and attractive. So attractive, haha. See the pun I did there? Oh, this one is gonna be really embarrassing if people don't know the reference, but I hope it's yeah still as relevant as I think they are. Anyways, and of course we're not discriminating, so we also have some male group winners. And who else would be deserving of that if not B1 Harmony? Like, I'm still not sure if they are my favorite 4gen boy group because there's also Tomorrow by Together, but like, they're up there. They're definitely up there. And their concert I've been to was one of the best. But even though that's true, I still don't feel like the Da comeback was that amazing. I'm not saying it was bad. Definitely was not bad. Pretty Boy is a banger, and I know I've enjoyed many of the B-sides, but like, to me, it was a bit of a letdown. However, then they came back with X, and all of those songs are amazing. Like every single one of them, but to me, Dancing Queen clears all of them any single day. It's just magical, and I think this kind of boy group music is getting more and more rare these days. And I'm not saying that you can't find any other similar songs anywhere else in the K-pop industry, but I'm saying this one is peak at what it is. It hits different, and I actually cried to it multiple times, like, it's that good. With that said, I don't think I have like anything else to say because it's just perfection. Like, go listen to it. Even now, like, stop the video and go listen to it if you feel like it because it's just that good. And let's move on. Hot Mess was just something else. I don't think the title really suits for what it was because I don't know, nothing about it feels messy. It feels so well crafted, and I don't care whose nachos they reheated. Like, I'm mainly thinking of FX, but if it's to such an incredible song, like in execution and like everything, I absolutely love it. Like, every single part of this song just slaps. So yeah, I'm not opposed to reheating someone's nachos if it works like this. And I promise I will try to limit my rambling about live concert experiences because I'm sure not everyone cares about that. But in this category, it is very needed because that's what it is about. And I've seen them in concert, and it was just so much better than I expected. And it's not that I would think they are not amazing performers, singers, dancers, anything like that, but because I'm just not like really that familiar with them. Like, of course, I know them. I've watched Boys Planet like everybody else, but I feel like as a group, I didn't really watch any reality content or anything, so I didn't really know much about their dynamics or how they interact besides their music and music videos. But it was so wholesome and amazing. Like, I've really enjoyed it. The vibes were immaculate, and of course, some part of it must have been the audience, but like, the atmosphere was impeccable, and I'm just so grateful I got to experience them as seven, because unfortunately we can't have nice things, and so Yehua has to ruin everything. But anyways, we have N double now, so like that's something. I still haven't processed my feelings about it. And I think I'm like fine with zero base one splitting up, like a lot more than I thought I would be, because I've realized if Ice One didn't do the same thing, we wouldn't have the Seraphim and Ive, and I absolutely adore them. But that doesn't mean that what Yehua did wasn't like incredibly sketchy, and I get that they have plans for the trainees that they sent to Boys Planet, but they did Yunso so dirty for nothing. However, I don't want to get any more pissed off than I already am, so in short, absolutely love the song. It's once again such a feel-good song, very fitting for all of the members, and I think it just works well for what they have built as their sound and vibe. That's why I can help but love it incredibly much, and so this is a very well-deserved win. As I'm recording this, Kira's have already had 2 comebacks, but if I'm being honest, none of them really hit as hard as Kill My Boss for me. And that's why I think it really deserves this win, even though this is a very competitive and very major category. Like, girl groups in general, and also when it comes to title tracks, wow, way to go, rookies. But by what I said, I don't mean that I don't like any of their more recent releases. I absolutely love Bang Bang. Like, you don't even get me started, because this is not about it. But they remind me of just like girl groups in general, not only in K-pop, as much as the concept itself and what it really meant for me when I was growing up with Fifth Harmony or Little Mix. Kiras absolutely have that essence too, and that's just something I really appreciate and can't really praise them enough for it. Every single song is not only an extension of their sound and discography, it's the manifestation of vocals and just musicality in general. And I hope I don't sound insane, but to me, they really bring the same excitement NMIX do when I listen to them. And I stand and absolutely adore NMIX. Like, I won't even dive deeper into that thought, because I could talk about NMIX all day. Like, I'm not even joking, they deserve their own video. And I hope they will get it, as their comeback is very, very soon. It will, of course, be out by the time I'm gonna put out this video, but just so you know, I was really excited for it. And I'm saying that because I think that's a real deal. Like, if I call someone the second coming or the 5th gen version of Animix, they have to be one of the best groups there are. And of course, you don't have to agree with me, but I absolutely do stand for what I said. And so I think Kill My Boss really deserves this win for its heavenly vocals, fun, vibrant, and really just pleasant to listen to and exciting to experience instrumental and production. Really talented members. Once again, shout out to Ling Ling. I gotta support my island to release any chance I get. And speaking of that, I have to mention incredible collab stage between Namyuju, who is now part of Hype Princess, with Jungkook and Coco of Isna. Like, that was incredible and everything I could ever want. And I really have been manifesting this, but I didn't know it will come true this early. So the next time they do something like that, don't leave Linging out, please. I need her there as well. Anyway, since I'm not able to just talk about the song itself, I think I've already said enough. It's amazing. You should really go listen to it if you haven't heard it in a long time. Trust me, you'll have a blast. And I would absolutely advise you to just stop the video and put it on. So I will put it in the right upper corner if you want to do that and keep on moving.
Cause you 이렇게 비가 오면 내 맘 벽지게서 푹 오는 저 조그만 새 Cause I only cry in the rain.
If you thought Buddy is gonna win this one based on it being the thumbnail of the last video, your deductive skills are absolutely correct, but that doesn't mean you are right. Because you see, Chu herself decided to have no chill and just didn't give me any other option. Like, if you asked me what was the 2025 Song of the Year and all of my brain cells would be working, I would wholeheartedly say Only Cry in the Rain. And you know what? That could also be a really great candidate for the album of the year as well, because it has the same name and it's also great. Like, we've all probably heard Kiss a Kitty, but every single song on it is really good. And by really good, I mean so good that I thought I loved No more than the title track when I listened to the EP for the first time. And I've just said that Only Cry in the Rain was my song of the year, so we know where I'm going with this. And it's not only the song itself and the complexity of the lyrics and the incredible production on it, it's also the MV and so many interpretations and symbolisms that I found people interpreting and pointing out that just made me love it even more and think about it from a different perspective and go way deeper beyond the surface of what I first thought the song was about. And the rhythm accompanying this song, like, it hits different. It's absolutely incredible.
Baby, what if there is a way? Can you remember days 서로 찾아낸 when the sky's so blue?
The original wording under this song was call it protection if you want, but it's big boy group music, and I couldn't agree more with it. I will be real. Originally, it was supposed to be Hot Mess by Even, but I've seen a very emotional Zero Base One edit today, and I just couldn't choose any other song. Blue is so beautiful and just captures everything about them as a group so well that at this moment in time, it wouldn't feel right to put any other song up there. This is biased. I am very much aware it is, because I love all of the songs. However, I do care about Zero Base One the most, and it's not even close. But with that said, I still feel like Blue is just such a beautiful, nostalgic, emotional, and also very special song in connection to them separating. Matthew's pre-chorus is just everything to me, same as the bridge, and I wish it would just never end and I could enjoy such a beautiful time forever. But that's not how it is, and it's okay, and I have to get over it. I really do. And I think I'm doing quite well. And I thought I was like completely okay before today, and I've realized I'm not. And maybe that's foolish, but one thing I've learned is to cherish the memories and experiences I'm having, because the fact that I'm feeling emotional means that I care, and that means that it's important to me. And so I don't really see any reasons to dismiss it. However, I don't want this to be just me sulking over a group, not really even disbanding, because I'm so grateful that I get to experience all of the members still making art. And honestly, that's beautiful and I really appreciate it, even though it would be better if I could still experience them as nine. But as I've already previously said, I am very open to this as a new start, because if Ice One had never disbanded, I would never experience my other old group, Le Seraphim. I would also never experience Ive, Lee Cheon as a soloist, Cho Yuri as a soloist, Cho Yena as a soloist. Like, they are absolutely killing it. All of these. Like, what do you mean? There would be no catch catch if Ice One never disbanded. Like, that is a cultural reset. And also somehow still relevant to the topic, because Shang Hao was the first on her dance challenge, and I believe it was also his first appearance outside of Zero Base One. However, I'm putting this quarter life crisis to an end. I think I've expressed how much I love the song and what it means to me, and so it's really time to move on, both figuratively and also literally.
황홀한 질주 넌 멈추지 않아 We're blowing up the roof And spinning through your mind like a race car, baby
Although there were other strong candidates for the B-side of the year, talking about girl groups, I don't think it was really that hard of a choice for me, because this was definitely one of my most played B-sides last year, and for good reason, because I personally think it is the best B-side, and definitely their best B-side, and not only that, their best song. So I'm at the same time kind of regretful, because this could have been and would have been a great title track. Like, this could have made numbers. It's the same thing as it was with Kepler's Back to the City. Like, Wake One can't do their job properly, because every single time I hear this song, I have goosebumps. Like, I'm not even kidding, it's just that good. I can help it, even though sometimes I just listen to the bridge or pre-chorus on TikTok. Still, I get chills. This is incredible. And of course, I'm glad that they have such a song, but I think it was really wasted, because Mamma Mia didn't do them many favors, both in the execution and concept. Like, what about it screams Isna? I want to know, because hardly anything. Anyways, if it was a title track, it would have much easier time winning in that category, because this competition was very real. Runner-ups like Crash by Racine or Lavico's Disaster by From His Nine could have won in any other case, but unfortunately for them, I just love this song, and Isna also a bit more. Before I decided that I'm gonna do voiceovers no matter the quality, I had a video planned out that would basically be about songs I can't wait to blast on late night summer rides, and this was the setting stone for that concept. Race Car is simply overflowing with emotions, both from the vocal deliveries and also from the track itself. It sounds so nostalgic, but not the overly bubbly, idealistic kind, the more melancholic and also kind of regretful, while still keeping the integral, sweet, and romantic parts. So it feels more insightful and complex than we're used to from them, and I absolutely love it. It's so bittersweet in the best possible way, so it feels like their story and sound are progressing rather than jumping from place to place whenever Black Label's production wants them to go, which once again really contrasts with what Mamma Mia did for them. And maybe at this point I'm just overreacting and overthinking, but I can't help it because it felt like with them, they really had a conceptual direction that they were heading in. From Time Bomb to Sign and Beep Beep, I felt like the storyline was pretty clear, and although quite similar each comeback, it was explored from different sides and actually really worked for them as a rookie group. And so it's all the more unfortunate that the way they evolved their sound was locked behind a B-side not that many people actually will check out compared to the title track, which was promoted everywhere. However, at the moment we are slowly entering the new era with their 30p, and I'm really excited for that. So I hope they won't let me down again. And by them, I obviously meant Wake One. The girls have never let me down, they just keep on improving. And I love them so much and wish them all the best.
On and on and on and on and on. Can you keep up, keep it up all night and day, 25-8. Can you keep it up?
Similarly to Race Car, 25/8 was one of my most played B-sides last year and also one of my favorites. It's just such a feel-good song, and for once, I think Yeji's voice really shines here. Don't get me wrong, this wasn't a jab at her vocal abilities at all, but at the way they handled her title track, which was Air, because I will never shut up about it, but I don't think her voice fits the song, because Yeji's strength is in how powerful her voice sounds. And when you choose a song that is more elegant and she is supposed to appear more nonchalant, it just clashes a bit with how jarring her voice naturally is. And I don't mean it in a bad way at all. That's why I think Crown Over My Head is such a great song and it literally won this category last year. So big congrats to her for winning a category back to back. However, what I was trying to say is that 25/8 was much better in that regard, really utilizing her natural charms and in a way connecting her back to Itzy's more bubbly concepts, while at the same time not overly forcing cuteness on her. It also fits within the EP surprisingly well and is super catchy. Like all of the parts of the song are incredible. And it's also really suitable for how great of a dancer she is, even though it's not a necessarily high energy song. All in all, really good at expanding her sound while keeping it natural to herself. And we're keeping the good vibes with
I never knew that 미치게 맘이 들겠네. I never knew that 좋아해. 아니 난 원해. 에코 간지런 말이.
And now we're getting to the part when I don't really have that much to say anymore, because I've already talked about even plenty. But Love Like That has every great aspect I've already praised Hot Mess for, but is more in the veins of Better Love, which is somehow even better. And sure, it might not seem as grand or exciting, but it is all the more just a song you want to be listened to at any occasion. And thankfully, Spotify clocked that early, so I had it on autoplay all the time and really enjoyed doing so. It also reminds me of Zero Base One Out of Love, but I have to give it to them, this song is even better. Like you can basically give them a fine track and they will make it a beautiful song because of their vocals and energy and everything. Like they are super great in these atmospheric, just like coming of age songs. For once, I think I summed it up quite well. So go listen to the song if you haven't, and
Let's ride to the front line. 갈 수 있는 가장 끝까지 너와 더 멀리.
I really wanted to give it to Rebel Heart because it was a song that really symbolized how 2025 felt. And I've seen it live on top of that, and it was absolutely amazing. However, I'm afraid that High Horse is a more intriguing and just more of an incredible musical experience. And I always appreciate that. I've seen people divided by this song because some, just like me, have seen the vision and absolutely adore it, but some just didn't get it like that. And I'm glad I'm the first case because it absolutely is why I listen to music. It's so beautiful, but it also is not just that. The beautiful vocals, and by beautiful, I mean give Kyujin a Grammy for that pre-chorus, are some of the most ethereal and angelic vocals I've heard in my life. And I'm not even slightly joking. But like I was saying, these beautiful ethereal vocals are accompanied by more of a simple piano and then contrasted by the harsher, more industrial drums and sound effects, which makes so much sense for their Mystopia concept. And it reminds me of Sonar Breaker, but from a different perspective. And this one is just even more artistic and raw. And it's all the more apparent in the empowering lyrics about societal expectation and not losing one's uniqueness amidst of them. And they've really manifested a whole universe based on that. And once again, they've only expanded on it with their newest comeback, and I absolutely adore it. Now to the more obscure categories.
해가 짚었어, 짚었어. 메탈을 흔들어 정신이 없어, offside, no side. 서늘한 공중을 넘을 준비해 the flag, so flag. 말보다 몸으로 증명해
If Isna getting their second win while still being rookies isn't a testament to how amazing of a group they already are, I don't know what else is. And of course, this is subjective. I absolutely won't deny that. But Cess is really so much more than just some random OST to me. It's quite an intriguing banger with a concept they haven't really explored before, or definitely not to that extent, and they did a really good job in that regard. Honestly, I absolutely am open to the conversation that they are not really as well suited for this concept as they are compared to their more romantic and brighter one. However, I think I can appreciate that all the more because of it. Like, I don't think there's any question about Coco fitting the concept. She absolutely does. But some of the other girls might not be that confident in it. By that, I don't mean that they feel awkward or out of place in the performances or the recording of the song, but I also can see why some of their fans might not appreciate this concept as much. I'm definitely sorry to those people because after this they got Mamma Mia as a title track, and that wasn't in any way executed as well as Sass was. And I'm not trying to be an anti or mean or anything to just this one song I didn't like. I actually liked Mamma Mia, but I could have loved it if they really tried to lend this concept well for what they were working with. And by they, I once again mean Wake One, because the girls did nothing wrong. They were given a song that was very far from their original concept, and they slayed it. While it might have some similar aspects to their debut song Isna, we don't talk about Isna the song. I wouldn't even call it a song. Like, it's not bad. It's just, it's so underproduced. It's super empty and basic for a debut of a group with such potential. Wake One, get your shit together ASAP. Wait, this one might actually be a Black Label issue. However, it still stands. Wake One absolutely need to get their shit together if they want is not to be successful. They need a set concept. So even if the EP has more songs with bridges or outros, let's choose the right outtrack that actually fits them next time. Please.
Got me spinning round, driving me crazy. Got me not going below. Bet you never saw you strike disco. Then I'm the la 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 lucky one, baby, the la 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 lucky one.
Since Ives Ascendio won this category last year, you can be sure that I will always eat up any music video with magical girls inspiration. And this one feels more like an actual anime than any MV I've ever seen before. And it's just so intriguing. Like every single aspect of it, the storyline and the visuals makes me so excited if we could get like a full version. Like if this was a prequel and we would get a sequel series, like anything like that. Maybe something like that is already happening, like in a small scale. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't really keep up with Cosmosy like that. But yeah, I would love that. And although that might seem off topic, I would say the biggest praise a music video can get is if it's interesting enough to leave the fans wanting more. And that's exactly what this one did. I think it is amazing as a standalone piece of art. Like, I still think about it to this day, and it's been well over a year. However, like I said, this has infinite potential for future reference, and I would love it if it meant there will be more of a resurgence in such concepts because they give me life.
And you're gonna love me like I am your number one rock star, stuck in your head and in your heart. Yeah. 'Cause you're gonna love me right.
This is truly a category that couldn't have gotten to anyone else. Like, of course, there were great candidates. Kira's have probably been a close second, and like every year has great entries. But Dayoung's solo debut was just something else for me. She, I don't know if always really is the right word, but for the longest time, she has been my bias in WJSN, and I just adore her. She is an incredible and unstoppable ball of sunshine to such an extent that you almost forget how incredibly vocally and performance-wise talented she is. The funniest thing is that I didn't even know this was happening. I didn't see any promotions or anything. I was just scrolling on TikTok and then I found an influencer making fun of some K-pop songs just having the most suggestive lyrics and it not being that much of an issue. And I was like, wait, this song sounds great. What is it? And then that's how I find out that she debuted. But about the music, Buddy is such a hit, and I'm so grateful that it was recognized and it charted and had so much success because she really deserves all of it. However, during the promotions, it wasn't really the stages I enjoyed most, although they were great and they were very live. I'm so glad we got them. But her doing interviews was maybe even better. She is just so passionate and excited to do all of that. And I love to see her in her element like that. With the new authority and opportunities, she really is our number one rock star. And that is such a great song. I love that she did a rock song on her first record and she owned it. I think that number one rock star is even more Dayoung than Buddy is because she really is that girl, always manifesting, but also putting in the work needed to make it happen. And like I said, I'm incredibly proud of her. I think Marry Me is just like song nobody talks about, but I don't think it's any less great than the previous other two. It's a bit different. It's more of a song you like dance to, and it has a different vibe. It's not necessarily darker, but definitely a lot less bright than the previous two. And I think it's really nice for variety and her showing different sides of her on her first project. And I love all the sides, so good for me.
So hit it up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I like it better, I like it better. You and I love it too. 'Cause this is too great. I like it better. 널 내일이라 부를래. 더 뜨겁게.
I have to say, From Our 20s feels like a really fitting title, cause this mini album just screams girlhood almost as much as it does pop rock. Like You Better is such a banger. However, the mini album is so amazing it barely makes top 3. Either way, while editing the video, I noticed that the rooftop scene is probably filmed on the same location as Dream Academy's Fearless performances in Mission 2, and that I found fairly interesting. And since I'm talking about Dream Academy, might as well say that I love the popularity that Kylie Girl got with her newest hit Right Back, cause she's just iconic. Always knew it, by the way. She was my favorite, apart from Adela in Dream Academy since forever. And of course, my favorite contestants didn't last more than 2 missions, so yeah, kinda unsubscribed from the show after that. However, Adela is also thriving, maybe more than ever before with KGB. I'll be honest, I am at a point where I don't want to officially support Kitsai anymore. Because there is not a black girl in the middle being black, in the middle being black, in the center being black in the middle. And despite of what TikTok thinks, I'll never stay behind Manon hate or mistreatment. And on top of that, I'm also pretty done with their musical direction, so I'm trying to distance myself from their content right now. With that said, my For You page is flooded by Megalodon edits, so I'm not quite successful in that. Love her, by the way. Anyways, my favorite recent from his 9 songs are definitely first place, Love Equals Disaster, and second, Twisted Love. So, if you're looking for a song to love, it has to have the word in the title. Well, that's just a random coincidence, but I found it intriguing. Love Equals Disaster is, at core, just a flawless song. The only reason it didn't win the B-side of the year is because, first of all, I do prefer Race Car in comparison to it, just a bit more, but also because I don't think we talk about how great Isna's B-side are in comparison to how everybody and their mother should know that from his 9 songs are just peak. But I think we are finally in a timeline where the general public is actually familiar with that fact. And another reason is that, like I said in a previous video where I talk about From His 9, which I think was my summer releases ranking, I do feel a bit like a performative male when I talk about them because I've never properly gotten into them that much, and I've also haven't been around that long compared to their comeback periods, so I didn't really experience them as much as I probably could have, and only know them more on the surface level. But what I know, I've always loved. So it's like I feel underqualified to really talk about them more in depth because I don't know that many of their B-sides. But also, I've never heard a bad from his ninth song, and I don't think that's my lack of knowledge. I just think that's their musical excellence. Either way, I'll advise you to listen to the mini album on your own. Once again, you can find the link in the right upper corner.
Girl, you should run. It's a fucking mistake. 'Cause it's not love, it's just a new distraction. Self-sabotage, it seems like it never happened. In his dirty apartment.
The winner of this category depends on what you call a 2025 full album. And I personally think that Sugarcoat is the rightful winner, even though the majority of the songs was released beforehand. However, there were still many great songs which were released in 2025 alongside the actual album, and so I'm definitely giving Alexa her flowers because this album is actually amazing. And I find it pretty ironic that it's called Sugarcoat after the last single released with it, and that's actually my least favorite song on the entire album. And it's not bad by any means, I just find it probably not that memorable and also not that interesting to me. I like it, I quite like it, but songs like Destruction, definitely my favorite on the whole album. It's super iconic. The lyrics are amazing. Like I'm 100% relating to all of it. Well, not all of it. I haven't experienced all of that, but the general sentiment is really relatable. And of course, I love rock music, so this one is like 3 times platinum in my bedroom. The other songs making my top 5 for similar reasons are Sick, Something New, Fatal, and Arrogant in this exact order. The strongest aspects of this whole album in summary can be labeled as RRR because it is unapologetically rock, real, and also relatable. The lyrics are on Sabrina Carpenter's level of playfulness and also genius, which is also very patterned with the super catchy and interesting melodies. And since it's Alexa, of course, it has stellar vocals. And talking about that,
I don't care what you think of me. I keep on trying. Let's get us back, yeah.
to me, the true best new artist in the K-pop awards show sense of things is the one who already feels like a real artist while still being in their rookie era. And so feel free to argue that Daeong or Cheong might have made better or bigger creative efforts to actually make art. However, for me, I don't think it's really that telling to judge an artist based on one release. And so while I think it was absolutely deserved to get the nomination, Kira's just feels like the right choice in my books. Not only do they have the skills in vocal, rap, and dance, but they have incredible stage presence and their live performances are genuinely awesome. Like the bar is super high. So much so that the Kiss of Life or Fifth Harmony comparisons I've previously mentioned just write themselves. However, I'm definitely not accusing them of reheating anyone's nachos because the rookie group coming into the scene with such a strong presence and also sound that haven't really been that explored, especially recently in an era that's very susceptible to trend chasing. It's just so refreshing. And I think this word is also pretty overused, even more so with any kind of Y2K hint. And to be honest, not everything has to be Y2K. Like, I think we're kind of past that. And so I'm very thankful for such a talented group with 2010 based sound with their own unique flair.
Heartbreak, take a walk, 듣기 싫은 every morning. Run away, be your friend. Heartbreak, take a walk, 듣기 싫은 every morning.
Although FE304 Forward or Blue Valentine, the full album, didn't quite take the win in their respective categories, together I don't think there was anyone else that I would enjoy as much, and I would also be inspired by so much as NMIX. Not only did they finish the FE304 trilogy, but it all becomes even more full circle with Blue Valentine finally containing the two songs that have become their debut song, OO. And while I talk about that, I am actually really surprised that I preferred the Baila version to the superhero one. Because my favorite part has always been the bridge or the change up. However, the Baila version has just so much more to it now, and it feels more like a full grandiose song that superhero does to me. I really like it, but it just gets old super quickly because the part I got used to as the highlight and bridge of the original OO is just the chorus here that's replayed over and over again, and it just lost its spark in that way. However, I love every single song on Blue Valentine. My personal favorites would be Podium, Shape of Love, Adore You, OO Baila version, and Blue Valentine. But like I said, every single song is really great. And since I'm in my exam period, Reality Hurts really hits different. Like every time the smallest inconvenience comes in my way, I'm like, Reality Hurts. And it's just such a banger. Another underrated song I haven't mentioned yet is Game Face. I didn't really expect it to sound like that with such name, but yeah, I love it. It's so cute, but also like deep, and the message is great. And as we also know from High Horse and like every other song from their discography, NMIX are pretty good at lending an interesting message. As of now, I've already heard their new song Loud in full, and it's a masterpiece. I'm obsessed. And although FE304 Forward was my least favorite from the trilogy, I also really enjoyed it. I didn't really get Know About Me from the start because there was no change up and that let me down. But it's a good song. Like, it was pretty much the closest they could come to a song that I could blast at any occasion, and nobody would question that. So I've grown to love it. However, the B-sides on the album also aren't really that my style. I love Golden Recipe and Slingshot, and I've already talked about High Horse, like that is a true masterpiece. However, usually the B-sides are like the main attraction for me, or like the reason why I replay the EP, and so that's why I didn't replay this one as much. Before we move on to the Western songs and albums, I have a confession to make. When I made the original video, I think I was too focused on limiting the amount of songs, so it would feel special that they made my nominations. However, as the time passed and I've seen many artists live, I've realized that it's not that deep and I can actually just put any artist and any song I love in there. And so that's why I'm now officially adding Snow White and A Matter of Time by Loewe.
But mirrors tell lies to me, my mind just plays alone. The world is a sick place, at least for a girl. What a reckless fever, love-struck girl, I'd tease her. Thought I'd never be her. Quite the job you've done on me, sir. You've been hosting parties in my mind.
And Sports Car by Tate McRae.
You could do it on your own. Why you looking at me? I think you know what this is. I think you wanna no, you ain't got no misses. Oh, but you got a sports car.
But there can only be one winner.
I can't help that. Sometimes I feel like I'm a hot cop. Little bit perfect, little bit problem. Could be a dream or your worst nightmare. But I know who I am, so I don't care.
One thing about M. Byhold is that she is amazing at capturing an exact feeling or atmosphere connected with mental health. And she did it once again, and I would say that Hobgoblin might be my favorite song of hers. First of all, it's sonically impeccable. It's not only a deep song, it's a banger that you could play at any time, and even if you don't care about lyrics, you will get an amazing experience from it, or at least from my perspective. I really love how it sounds. I think the production is really great, but of course, her voice is another aspect that I can't not praise because she is genuinely an amazing vocalist. Like, I will die on the hill that she's one of the most unique or my personal favorite vocalists there are in pop music. Before we dive into the lyrics, which are once again my favorite part of her songs, I just want to also appreciate that this song is not only genius and relatable, but also empowering. And Byhold has always inspired me with how she expresses her mental health struggles in such a manner that it makes perfect sense to me, even though I might have never been in those kind of situations. However, this one hits different because the topic of self-love is really important and personal to me as well. And I think she captured it incredibly well while also making it a positive, empowering song that you can dance to. And of course, there has to be time and place for songs to dance to. So it makes sense that not all of her songs in her discography are akin to that. However, I really appreciate this one all the more. Another one of my favorites from her discography is definitely Spider-Man, and it wouldn't make any sense if such a song was played like at a club or a party, and it doesn't make it automatically worse at all. It's a beautiful song, and I absolutely adore it, but I don't really listen to ballads religiously like that, so I think Hot Goblin is just the perfect mix for me. It also reminds me of Too Precious, but from the perspective where the narrator has already moved on from their possible love interest. And Too Precious is another one of my favorites, so of course I'm gonna eat this up. What I'm trying to say is that I didn't just pick a song not many of you would know, but like really a song I've been listening to and has been a real inspiration and source of comfort and relatability. And I'm not saying any of the other songs don't have that, but personally for me, Hot Goblin just wins in that category.
Skinny dipping with your heart out is my favorite part. Now we ain't gotta tell no one. Never ending midnight sun.
This album might become my most listened album of all time. It wasn't my most streamed album last year, or at least not on Spotify Wrapped, because I was incredibly obsessed with The Good Witch by Macy Peters, who I've then discovered, and also because the album came out so late in the year. but I have never stopped listening to it, and now there's a whole second half of the album with so many amazing collaborations. What do you mean she has a song with Medicine Beer or Shakira? Like, that's crazy. And I absolutely also love the new version of Midnight Sun with Pink Panthers. I think it adds so much to the song that it otherwise wouldn't have had. And it's still pretty faithful to the original song, like similar lyrics and parts and like energy and vibes. So I love it even more than the Money Long version, and I think it's a great testament to how successful it was. And of course, it was the point of all of these songs to bring just new life and energy or new perspective and sides to the original narrative. But I've also loved the original narrative, so let's talk about that for now. In theory, Midnight Sun is simply an album about love, whether it is to a love interest of hers or her career and also herself, because she is a diva and she knows it. However, all of this just works all the more better because she packaged it in a dream and holiday-like soundscape, which really does capture the essence of Midnight Sun as a concept. But it is important for her to really make it into something special, and I think she really succeeded in that way because this is her thing now, and I'm not saying that she has to continue with such sounds and concepts forever, but she really made it her own, and I don't think anyone else could really execute it as well as she did because of her angelic vocals. Like, I'm not here to bash on anyone else's vocals, but if you heard Sarah Larson live, I don't think it's really that comparable to anyone else. Like, she is truly incredible and one of a kind. I still haven't fully recovered from that. She is just amazing. Honestly, in this particular album, I don't really have set favorites because it depends on so many factors. Like one day I might wake up and feel nostalgic, retrospective, and maybe want to get more in touch with my younger self. So, of course, I will put on Saturn's Return, which is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life. But other day, I might just feel like dancing really much. So, I will put on Pretty Ugly or Euro Summer or Hot and Sexy. All of those songs are so perfect for their own vibes and different situations I might be in, and also lyrically. Nothing beats a Jet to Holiday lol, but what I was trying to say is that it is really special to listen to Crash or Girl's Girl or The Ambition when you absolutely are in a situation when it's applicable and you just really feel connected to it on another level. And that's why I think all of those songs on the album are at least a 9 out of 10. I could argue that they actually all are 10 out of 10. And Midnight Sun, the song, is like pretty much off the scale. It is just so big and special that it's not a song anymore. It's a phenomenon, and one I'm particularly really excited to participate in. And so the weather, very typical of what the album represents, didn't last that long, but that could never stop the internet, especially TikTok, from turning it around and just celebrating Midnight Sun because summer isn't over yet. In December, January, like it could be snowing. People would build snowmans with shells and sunglasses, and it really made being active in a fandom the most entertaining thing ever. And with that, all of my awards have been given out. But before you go, I just wanna take my time to really say that I really appreciate the support this channel is still getting. Whether it means the still raising number of subscribers, which is more than 160 now. I've never actually anticipated that. Or the nice comments I'm always getting. And I'm just so glad that even after such a long time, people care and like my community posts. They answer to my comments under their videos, and just taking part in the community is incredible. I am so glad and thankful for that. And I hope that it will continue to be that way. Whether I will be able to get more consistent with my releases or not, I know that even if it's just a few people, I feel like they would care nonetheless, and that means so much to me. So thank you once again, especially if you've watched this far into the video. I would really appreciate any comments considering this video or your potential favorites which didn't make the list, or the ones who did and you are really glad for that. Or maybe I have chosen different songs from the same artist that you would, so if any of that applies, let me know. This video, after all, is incredibly subjective, so I want to give you space to be able to express your opinions as well. I have a few more ideas for my possible future videos, but if you have some of your own, definitely leave them in the comments as well. But I don't want to drag this video any further, so once again, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!